Hello everyone, it's me again, Marianne from Max Creative Touches. Today I will be showing you guys how I wrap my sublimation cups. First I print it with my sublimation printer. I make sure it's mirrored. Even though my sublimation printer mirrors it automatically, I always double check it after it's printed. I already know the measurements of my cups is 9.280 by 8. However, you may need to double check the measurements of your cups. After I print it out, then I trim it down with my handy dandy trimmer here. Try to get it as close to the edge as possible without going over, but I don't want any white of the paper to be showing. Because if there's any white showing, then that will show up on the cup. Alright, when that's done, I just move this stuff out of the way. I grab my sublimation cup. I inspect it, make sure there's no dings or cracks or anything in the paint that looks like it may mess it up. Like this one has got one. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but it's got a little mark right there. So I do not want to use this cup. I would if it was for a cup for myself. I wouldn't care, but I am giving this away as a gift. Try another one. Again, remove the lid and double check the cup. Thought I felt something right here, but it's just a little bit of dirt, I believe. Yeah, because I think that'll come off. Because I have handled the cup to ensure that it is completely clean, I take my handy little thing here. It has got acetone in it, a little bit of a little rag, dab it a little bit, and then wipe the cup down. Do this to ensure all my fingerprints are gone. And I always make sure to use a microfiber cloth, less chance of leaving any lint. Alright, all done. And because I used acetone, it doesn't take very long at all for it to dry. Move the cup off to the side real quick. Take this and place it upside down. And then bring the cup back. When you're placing it on the cup, make sure you place it right side up. Double check before you take that you don't have it upside down. If you do, you will mess up the cup. As you can see here, I had done that once already. Beautiful cup. It's absolutely gorgeous. but completely upside down. So before I do that mistake again, let me put it right side up, wrap it around the cup, make sure I got it all the way to the top and completely lined up. Now when you do this, you want to have as little overlap as possible when they meet. The more overlap you have, the more chances you have of being able to see your seams. The less overlap you have, the better, but you don't want to have a gap because then you will see your seam. But if you have too much overlap, the ink will go from this side to this side and down to your cup. Alright, then I start taping it. And when I tape it, I pull it as tight as I possibly can. The tighter, the better. I just work my way down, pulling tight as I go. Sometimes I need to pull it up to my stomach to help hold the cup to make it a tighter fit. Something's going on. There we go. Somehow got one of them a little bit crooked. The very first one I got a little crooked, it seems. There we go. Tight, tight, tight. That one's a little bit longer than I want. Tight, tight, tight. It is so tight that, as you see, it does not slide at all. You want it very tight. If you have any air underneath there, it will cause you to mess up and have what you call ghosting, where there will be white spots on the cup where the ink did not transfer to the cup. All right, next, I do the same thing, but with the bottom. I usually start at my seam, pull it as tight as I can, and go over the top, like so. Do that all the way around. Now, I am not using just regular tape. I am using heat tape. a little crinkle in my paper. I'm trying to squeeze it on out. So any crinkles you have will show up as ghosting. Do this all the way around the edge of the cup. You want that bottom to be as close to the cup as you can possibly get it. So there's little to no chance of any kind of ghosting going on. Myself, I'm not a perfectionist. So I'm okay with a little bit of ghosting as long as it's not too terrible. Sometimes it helps it look more homemade. I usually don't worry about the top because with the top, when I put on the butcher paper and my shrink wrap, that usually takes care of the top for me. Next, I need to cut up a piece of my butcher paper. I wrap the butcher paper around the cup tumbler like so to help make sure that I have enough to get it all the way across. Gotta find my scissors. Here they are. Get it started, pull it off, and finish it off. Alrighty. Again, wrap it around the cup to ensure that I have enough butcher paper when I cut it to go from top to bottom. Get this cut started and then finish it up. Now with the butcher paper, you can overlap as much as you want. I try not to overlap too much, but it's okay. The overlapping of the butcher paper is not going to hurt the cup. Now I always do make sure when I tape the butcher paper onto the cup, I do it opposite of where I tape the seam. So, wrap the butcher paper around the cup. Grab a piece of tape. And again, even with the butcher paper, you want to get it as tight as you possibly can. Oh, that piece of tape broke. That's okay. Again, you don't want the butcher paper to move so much. As you see, this one is moving. So I will take that piece off. Try again. If you have too much trouble, trim the butcher paper down a little bit. Because again, if you overlap it too much, you can't get it as tight as you like. This is new heat tape. It's just not as sticky as the heat tape I'm used to. But you see now, it doesn't slide so well. It'll slide a little bit, that's okay, but not near as well as it did earlier. I just put 2 more pieces on. You don't need to go from top to bottom like you did with the other one. Sometimes only 1 piece is good. And there's that. Next, I grab my heat wrap, my shrink wrap, and I plug in my heat gun. I just used the heat gun that came with my epoxy set. Any old heat gun will do. It does not have to be extra hot, just hot enough to melt plastic. Some people use a hairdryer. I haven't tried it myself, but I've always had this heat gun. So my shrink wrap is, as you can see, way bigger than it needs to be, but that doesn't bother me none. It may bother some, but it does not bother me. I stick the cup inside, and I pull it nice and tight. I try to make sure the cup is nice and even. And actually, I prefer it not to touch the bottom of my cup because I have had it stick to the bottom of the cup after removing it. So I will have it to where it can stick to the plastic. I don't know if you can see that. It'll stick to the tape, but it will not go here where there's no tape. And turn on the heat gun. Let it heat up a little bit. Alright, and I just blow it on. Top and bottom. And then start going up and down. Heating it to the cup. And as you see, I'm not holding the excess down, because eventually the excess will go away with this heat. It is shrink wrap. It will shrink away. And you will keep on shrinking it until it's very tight against the cup. I sometimes flip it around and go the opposite direction. But you do need to be careful, because if you heat the shrink wrap up too much, you can melt it and therefore have to start all over. Make sure you do not touch the shrink wrap with your heat gun. Again, it will melt and you'll have to start all over. You got the top, the bottom. And it's done. As you can see, it's nice and tight against. And all that excess is pretty much gone. It's ready to be put in the oven. Thank you.